So you've had your man marbles removed. Congratulations. You've officially entered the weirdest job market in ancient history. Because now you're not just a eunuch. You're a trusted insider, a palace VIP, an unthreatening human USB drive who remembers everything but sleeps with no one. See, in a world where betrayal was basically a daily hobby, kings needed people they could trust. And who better than someone who couldn't have kids, start dynasties, or even flirt with the queen without it being weird? You weren't just harmless. You were safe. A dead end on the family tree. You became the human firewall for royal secrets. The ultimate personal assistant. Except instead of scheduling meetings, you were managing concubines, handling the treasury, whispering into royal ears, and sometimes all three before breakfast. And the royals loved it. They didn't want generals with ambition or priests with mysterious prophecies. They wanted someone who looked like a threat on paper, but was about as politically dangerous as a bowl of mashed peas. But here's the twist. Everyone else absolutely hated you. You were seen as creepy, suspicious, and way too close to power. It was like being the teacher's pet, but in a murdery Game of Thrones kind of classroom. You're the guy who gets to skip the line in court because the emperor calls you by a cute nickname. Meanwhile, the scholars who spent 20 years memorizing Confucian texts just got passed over for promotion again because they didn't qualify for the whole eunuch advantage package. The military hated you because you didn't earn your rank through battle. The bureaucrats hated you because you didn't pass any exams. The public hated you because somehow you were rich and clean while they were stuck throwing human waste out the window. But the emperor loved you, and that was enough. Until it wasn't. See, power is cool until people notice you have too much of it. Then suddenly you're not the trusted servant. You're the suspicious mole, the whispering puppet master, the guy who mysteriously had 3 rivals reassigned to Mongolia last week. But back to the good times. When you were on top, life was strangely luxurious. You got silk robes. You got bodyguards. You got your own estate with more furniture than any man without a family should reasonably need. And the palace gossips feared you because you always knew more than them. You were like the TMZ of the Forbidden City, but with more knives and less mercy. You didn't just know secrets. You buried people with them. You managed the private chambers, kept track of who slept where, and who probably shouldn't have. In some dynasties, especially in China, eunuchs ran everything. I mean everything. From the emperor's bath schedule to national tax policy. Imagine a world where your entire country is managed by someone who technically counts as furniture on the census. Of course, the good times couldn't last. Once a new ruler showed up, it was always time for the Great Purge, because nothing says fresh start like removing the previous emperor's entire support staff. So one minute you're living it up. The next you're on trial for poisoning the soup, even though you were 800 miles away at the time. But let's not forget why you got the job in the first place. Because you couldn't threaten the royal bloodline. That's it. That's the secret sauce. Your loss was the monarchy's gain. No marriage, no heirs, no dangerous romantic entanglements. You were a political vacuum, clean, silent, and occasionally terrifying. But if you think that meant peace of mind, think again. You were still constantly under surveillance, because absolute trust came with absolute paranoia. You could be gifted a palace one day, and then have your name scratched off the records the next. Just because the emperor had a weird dream. So yes, you had influence. Yes, you had gold. Yes, you got to wear better shoes than 99% of the population. But power, when you're a eunuch, came with an expiration date stamped invisibly across your forehead. Because while you were too safe to ignore, you were also too dangerous to keep around forever. And that's the tragic comedy of it all. You reached the highest levels of court politics by being fundamentally non-threatening. But in a world powered by suspicion and betrayal, That just meant people had to invent new reasons to hate you. So congrats again. Your body got you in the door. Your silence kept you there. And your downfall is only one nervous emperor away.